Hi everyone, this is Misty with Digital Learning, coming to you from my office for today's virtual Lunch and Learn, which is on not digital collaboration, but on productivity, that's a hard word for me to spell, software. Welcome and thank you for joining us, whether you're joining us live or joining us down the road watching this recording at your own leisure. Either way, we are very happy to have you. So it is just me right now. For those of you that don't know, Melissa is out, will be joining us soon, and Jeff is currently unavailable. So it is just me today, but I'm happy to be here, and we're going to be talking about some really amazing tools to help you be more productive. Reminder that you can access our recordings in our Digital Learning Services course. Go ahead and link here if you need to enroll. Once you have enrolled in the course, you'll be able to access it through your Canvas dashboard. And then under DL Professional Learning, you'll find links to all of our prior virtual Lunch and Learns, as well as other face-to-face sessions that were offered by Digital Learning this year. I have not yet linked the Zoom recording because we're currently in the meeting. Once I'm finished with today's meeting, I will go ahead and update this to include a link to today's recording. You can access the agenda here. All right. So, productivity software, what is it? Why do we need it? Productivity software is pretty much anything that adds time and value to your day. So anything that's going to make your job more streamlined, easier, make you more effective, falls under the category of productivity software. As you can see here, that could be anything from an app to a G Suite add-on to Zoom, which we're in right now. So items that fall under productivity software are pretty varied, but all of them can help you be more effective in your work. And to help structure our conversation today, I went ahead and broke these up into some subgroups. So the first one is project management, and then we have communication and collaboration, time tracking, note making, email management, distractions and focus, and then a couple of bonus tips. So it is now 12:03 is what I have on my clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, if you joined us live at any time, we'll continue on. You're welcome to come back and watch the recording for what you missed. If you're only going to join us remotely, then please enjoy the recording and feel free to reach out to us with any questions. All right. Project management. So typically speaking, in productivity software, when we hear about project management, you're thinking more along the lines of corporate project management. So this might mean managing a team of multiple people, managing multiple timelines, deadlines, balancing timesheets, payroll, things like that. For teachers and for those of us in education, this looks a little different. We're talking more about maybe document management. We do have deadlines, scheduling, things like that. So one of the biggest tools, and these are going to pop up throughout. You're going to see G Suite items on almost every single area here. But one of the big ones for project management is going to be your G Suite. So G Suite refers to the Google Apps products. So Google Apps for Education, GAF, G Suite is the rebranded name for that. So that's your Drive, your Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Slides, Forms, pretty much anything that you can get to from your waffle is G Suite product. So G Suite in general is going to help you with project management. Let's go ahead and talk about some of those different components though, and look at specifically how they could help you be more productive. So the first one there is your drive. So in your drive, you have unlimited storage. So for those of you that don't know, you have unlimited storage as part of your LEISD G Suite account. What's great about that is instead of having items all over your desktop or having to save items to thumb drives, things like that, you can store all of your documents, all of your PDFs, all of your images in your drive, making those items accessible on any device, any computer, anywhere that you have internet access. So your drive is a great storage tool, first of all. And another piece about your drive here that's going to help your productivity is that it's searchable. So you'll notice my drive on the surface here, it doesn't look overly full. I actually have almost 21 gigabytes of documents in here, but because I choose to organize my drive with a substructure hierarchy, my landing page doesn't look super full. But without going too much into that, I can come up here to this search icon and I can type in, well, I'm gonna go to this drop down actually, and I'm gonna say I just wanna see forms that were created by me. And that's gonna search my entire drive and pull up all the forms that I've created, well, going back all the way to 2013, which was probably when my very first form was made. So I've got 6 years worth of forms, and this very quickly pulled those specifically, and I can now filter through those items. I can do the same thing with presentations, and if I remember a keyword, I can add that in, excuse me. And now it's going to find all my presentations that include the word TIA in the title, whether they're owned by me or not. So again, your drive is going to help you be more productive because of those built-in search features and the folders, as I was mentioning. So within each of these major folders, I have additional subfolders. So I can get as organized as I want here. I will say that there are others who like to have everything just live in their drive and not in folders. That's really going to come down to what works best for you. Part of being productive is knowing your own system and what works for you. So again, what works for me, having folders within folders within folders, may not work for you. But whichever way you choose to organize your drive, you have a lot of options there. You'll notice my folders are color coordinated. Coordinated isn't the right word. Color coded is what I'll say. Color coded, and you can do that by right clicking and saying change color. So again, anything that helps me be more visually organized helps me be more productive. So you'll find what works for you, and that is one way that Drive can increase your productivity. All right, docs, sheets, and slides. Now, these are going to kind of all have very similar properties, so I'm not necessarily going to show you each of these individually. But for all three of these, you have real-time collaboration, you have autosave, which is huge. Autosave is a huge productivity feature because I know I have to relearn when I go from product to product that not everything has an autosave feature, and I get a little spoiled because that's one less thing I have to worry about remembering is to save my work. Drive, Google, Docs, Sheets, Slides, they all take care of that for me. I can also access the revision history. So let's say I am working on a shared document with my teammates and some kind of big change has happened, but we want to go back and look at a prior version. We can do that by accessing our revision history. And we can even restore that revision history. So if something was accidentally deleted or changed, we can restore that version of the document as well. In the collaboration arena, you can also insert comments, suggest edits, and chat right from within a document. What's nice about that is that instead of necessarily coming in and reworking a document, I could instead come in and I could leave a comment with a tip or an idea. I can also assign this to somebody if I wanted to. And we can also have a chat there where and right now I'm the only person in the document, but if there were multiple people in the document, we could go ahead and have a conversation about the document, even if we are not in a face-to-face environment. So those collaboration features are very helpful, especially when you're working on something that every member of the team needs to be a part of. So whether that be lesson planning document, for example, PLC documents. So even if you couldn't meet face to face, you could still have those meaningful conversations. And of course, anything that's going to help you in your time management and in the flexibility of time is going to increase your productivity. One of the other really cool things that I think maybe gets overlooked is that you do have template features in your G Suite products. Those of you who are familiar with Word and grew up as Microsoft Office users, you're probably big fans of templates. And you may have not known that you had access to a whole template library right here in your drive. I'm going to show you this with a form, a Google form, but these steps are the same whether you're doing a form, a doc, a sheet, a slide, anything. So I'm going to start out in my drive. I'm going to go to New, and then More, Google Forms, and then I'm going to click on this arrow here, and then I'm going to select From a Template. So again, those steps were New, More, Forms, slide over to this arrow. You'll see they all have that same arrow. And then rather than doing a blank form or just clicking on the name, I'm going to say From a Template. And that's going to pull up both Little Elm templates and general templates. I'm in the general templates because it has more. But here are some right here that are for education. So there's an exit ticket template, an assessment template, a worksheet template, an evaluation template if you wanted to get feedback from your students about how the year went, how they thought the course went. RSVPs, parties, order request, time off request. These are all already made. So again, this is a template gallery, which is great because if I know I want an exit ticket, I can go ahead and click on this. It's going to populate it for me. And if I'm happy with the way this looks, I'm completely done and I can now share this with my students. I've just saved myself a ton of time of coming up with and creating an exit ticket for my students. And again, that same feature exists whether you choose docs, sheets, or slides. Right here from a template. Anytime you can find a template that works for your needs, you're increasing your productivity because you're not having to start from scratch. All right, let's come back to our agenda. So that was just a general look at G Suite products and specifically at the Drive, Doc, Sheet, Slides, and Forms. We will talk about Calendar, Hangouts, and Keep as we go through our other areas of productivity. So the other project management tool that I have linked here is called Trello. Trello is kind of a virtual task board, I guess task board is the best way to describe it. So let's look at this one. So here are different tasks, and you can see I have not added as much to this. But you can get the idea here. So here are the different tasks that I am needing to work on right now, and you can scroll over. And then within that, I can add cards which could be additional details. I can also, again, if I have shared this, I can assign these to people. I can also reposition and add additional labels. And then if I click on it, I can add more comments here. I can also add a due date. Oops. So you'll see now there's a due date on that card that I just added. And over here, you can see these that I'd added due dates on. So if I met this, and it says past due because it's way past March 8th, but let's say I met that, I can check it off and it's going to turn it green. So again, just a visual reminder of your to-do list, a way to keep yourself on track when you are dealing with multiple projects and perhaps even multiple people that you want to help everyone keep track of their progress on a project. I'm going to pause for just a second and check in with the member who has joined us to make sure that he can hear me through my headphones. So Jeff, can you hear me? Okay. I had a paranoid thought there that I'm recording this and that nothing I'm saying is being recorded. So thank you for that pause.
You're good. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, listeners, for that moment. All right, so that's Trello. And so far, I don't think there's a limit to the number of boards that you can have. These are past boards that I've had. And then these are boards I've created, but I've also got boards I've been invited into, whether I created them myself or they were created by another user. So that's Trello.
And one of the things that's unique about Trello is since it's not owned or managed by the district, like if you're collaborating with someone in another district, I think all you need is their email. So it's a tool that can kind of work outside of our scope as well.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. That if you were doing something, or if you needed it for personal use.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
If you're planning a family reunion or something like that, and you
Right.
can assign everybody a task.
Make sure the right people bring the right food.
Yes, we know how important that is.
Yes.
All right, so our next area then is communication and collaboration. So we've already talked a little bit about how G Suite products can be used for collaboration, but the two that I'm going to focus on are Hangouts and Zoom. So we're going to start with Zoom, even though that's not the order I have them in, because we're in a Zoom right now. Whether you are joining us live or whether you are accessing this recording after the fact, Zoom is a great way to communicate and collaborate with your peers. Zoom will let you have, I think in the free version, you can have up to 40 participants for 40 minutes. It's something like that. But I know that you can have up to a 40-minute recording in the free version and that it can still be shared out after the fact. You do not have to have a paid account or an upgraded account to have all the features. Now, you may have fewer, and I know that, again, the time limit is there, but I do believe it's 40 minutes, which is fairly long for a virtual meeting. One of the nice features about Zoom is the ability to share your screen, which is what we're doing right now. You can see my screen, so I'm able to open up links and model what we're doing, but I can also stop sharing and turn the share over to someone else who's in the meeting. So for example, I could stop sharing my screen and I could turn it over to Jeff. I'm not going to spring it on him like that, but I could. Or if we had some more live participants, I could turn it over to one of your screens and you could show us what you were working on or lead us through a lesson. It also does have a Annotate. So if I want to, I'm going to do spotlight here. If I want to spotlight something, on my screen. That was the arrow. I'm gonna do this one. What's this one? I don't know. Right here. So that's pretty cool. If I'm trying to draw your focus or your attention to something. And then there's also a draw feature. And if I don't like that, I can erase it. So that's all right here built into Zoom. I liked that little arrow.
Well, it's cool that you can see like who it is that's doing it also.
Yes. So if you were again in a meeting with 30 people, you would know, like, maybe I tagged this because I want to come back to it later, or I have a question about it, or it's
Right.
very important and I'm a go-to expert on this, you know, something like that. But it's nice that it does tag you in a sense. It also has a polling feature, so I could add a question. And I'm doing this on the fly. You can pre-arrange them or not. Whoops, it's not liking that. I'm not going to because there won't be anybody here to take it. But you can add a poll, and then you also have a chat feature, which you can either have on or not have on. So if you usually in Intact, for example, where we have multiple participants, we have the chat feature on. That way, if questions come up while we're in the middle of presenting something, we can come back to that question, or another peer or attendee can answer that question for us. And then when this is all said and done, I will get a recording of this as well as a transcript. So I'll be able to share out both the recording and a transcript for those that might need access to that. So that's some of the cool features of Zoom. Jeff, anything to add about Zoom?
No, excuse me. No, one of the things we really like about it though is just being able to record and have that kind of have that documentation so they can be shared out later, which is why we're using it now. You know, we've tried a couple of different tools here in our group, and we kind of keep coming back to Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the one thing that I always make sure that folks know about Zoom, and I apologize if you said this earlier, but it does require, you know, it is software that's installed on a computer. So, you know, if I'm inviting someone to a Zoom meeting, I always just make sure that I mention that to them. You know, hey, it is going to ask you to install software, so just be prepared for that. Whereas there may be some other tools like Google Hangouts that doesn't require that type of installation. But again, some of that's, you know, got to do that installation piece so that you can get some of the goodies that you were just talking about. So.
Yes. I agree that we've tried a multitude of other products, and Zoom is definitely the one that we keep coming back to.
Yeah.
And not just us, not to go off tangent, but Canvas, for example, I meet with them once a month, and they used to use a different tool, and now they have switched over to Zoom. I think it really is a very user-friendly, both end user and launching user friendly product.
Yeah. Did you mention the apps?
No, I did not mention the apps.
So that's another bonus with Zoom is that, yeah, they have an iOS and I believe also an Android app. So, you know, it can give you the same capabilities, not maybe with, I'm sure it's limited with the features that you were showing, like the quiz, the marking, the spotlights and things like that. I'm sure you probably can't do with the app, but I know, for example, my wife and I were on the road during spring break driving down to Austin, and she needed to hop into a Zoom meeting. So, you know, she had installed it on her phone and she sat there and did a video conference with a couple other folks. So it worked pretty well. So it's just kind of nice to have some options outside of that, so that you can do it on your phone if you need to, either through the app or through a phone call as well, if you need to call in and listen.
So the other tool we have here is Google Hangouts. Now, I will say Google Hangouts has both a video feature and a voice call feature, but I don't utilize them to their full capacities. I typically think of Hangouts as a instant messaging tool. Occasionally, I will use the voice call if it's just something that it's too much to type out. But my primary use of Hangouts is as an instant messaging tool, but it is a very effective instant messaging tool. If you ever see anybody from the technology department, whether it be the digital learning side, the network services side, or the technicians, you'll notice that we almost always have our phones with us. And I would say probably 70% of the time if we're on our phones, we're in a Hangout discussion about the campus that we're currently at or something that's going on at another campus. It's one of the ways that we as a fairly large department that is spread out over all the campuses in the district stay connected with each other. And you do have access to that as part of your LEISD teacher G Suite features. So again, a Hangout is a nice way for you to have a quick conversation with your teammates, perhaps when you guys can't be out in the hall to talk with each other, or if you're out and you need to quickly message somebody. I do like it for that. Sometimes it's faster to go through Hangouts than it is than the back and forth of email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would mention just as a reminder that it's part of our G Suite, so it's kept in, the transcript I believe is kept in the records. It's weird. It actually is kept like through your Gmail, I think, but anyway, I always remind everyone it's anything that we do on our computers is part of our professional records that have to be kept to some extent. So
well, and I will say
keep that in mind.
The plus of that is that sometimes, at least in our usage, we have a conversation in Hangouts, and then I'm looking for something we talked about, but when you do a search in your Gmail, because it's transcript is not the word, it's saved there, I guess. It will search through your Hangouts as well. So if you have a certain word, for example, there was a certain password I was looking for, and I knew that we had discussed it in a Hangout, and I was able to search my Gmail, and it pulled up the chat. So I was able to find the information I needed. So that's a plus to that. All right, time tracking. I only have one here. There are a lot of different third-party apps out there, but I have Google Calendar specifically because of, one, it's included as part of your G Suite, but also because of how well it works with other calendars. So you can manage your schedule, you can have appointments, you can set up meetings, and you can integrate it with tasks. So like right here, tasks. These features are available in your calendar and through your Gmail, and then in this case in a doc. You can also use some of the features like find a time. So if you need to have a meeting with, everyone that teaches English at your campus, you could do find a time, put their names in, their emails in, and it's going to give you a suggestion of some of the times when they might be free. The other nice thing there is shared calendars. So if you're willing to do that, share calendars. This will let you view other people's calendars on yours so that you kind of have an idea of where they are. It's just kind of a way to be like, hey, have this going on, but this way you know where I am and when I'm available. And you can set up reminders, which is a key feature in being productive, is that reminder that something is coming up. So sometimes it's a reminder about an actual task, but maybe instead it's a reminder to do something, or a reminder to, take attendance, a reminder to submit your grades.
Mm-hmm.
And you can set those as recurring reminders, and you'll get a little reminder 10 minutes before it actually happens that it's due.
And you can customize those.
Yes. Mine are set to 10 minutes, but I think you can go as far as a day, maybe even.
I think so. Yeah. I think I've got like one pops. It'll do an email reminder, but it'll also do a pop-up on your screen reminder, and so you can, if you're somebody who you need 5 different reminders, you can set those up, and
I think you can also add tones. Like noise notifications and things like that too. So again, just some nice little features that are built into your calendar. All right, I'm gonna pick up a little bit here. Google Keep. I'm gonna open this up. This is mine, which, oh look, my little tag stays on the screen.
Hey,
You see that? That's
good to know.
Take that guy off there. So right now I don't have any notes because I just kind of cleaned this up. But to take a note, it's very easy. Start typing. I struggle with that word. And then just keep typing. Don't spell it wrong. But I can also now format this. Like, let's say I want it to be checkboxes. So let's say this meeting is concluded. I can, and you'll see how it automatically strikes it out and moves it down to my completed items list. I've got a limited number of color coding here. And I can put in a title. I can also pin it. So if I have multiple notes, my pinned ones will stay up top. You can also do voice notes and image notes. And then these could also be shared. I could share these if I need to add a collaborator to this particular note. So now you can see that both Jeff and I are able to access this note. And then I can set a reminder on my note as well. So Google Keep, it is a very cool virtual way to manage your notes, but also thinking in terms of Trello, kind of a similar to-do list management type item. And then you can see archived notes and things like that. Okay. Jeff, anything to add on Keep?
No, one of the things though, and I think you had pointed out, if you want to go back to wherever you were, sorry, if you were on your, I don't know if you were on that doc or not, but the over on the right hand side, you've got tasks, but they've also incorporated Keep there as well. So if you're sitting here and you've got that spur of the moment, then they've put the notes there from Keep right there. So I think there's also an app for a phone. If you want that, a lot of folks will bookmark keep.google.com. So it's just a one click from your bookmark bar.
And you'll see it's automatically, just to show that I was typing here and it's already updated. I've got it bookmarked up here. And then you can also access it through your
through your waffle. Yeah, so they're making it easier for a couple of these tools. Again, they're thinking about productivity and trying to make it easy for you as well. So,
and Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about the next one under email management, because I know that you were very excited about it.
Y'all, this is the thing that I am most excited about this week. It is crazy how excited I am about this, but if you haven't noticed that Gmail has finally caught up with Outlook, like from like 2005 or something, but was it just yesterday I think we noticed it?
Yes,
that it got turned on. Just yesterday they finally turned on a feature called Send Later in Gmail. So if you're used to using Outlook, where you were able to do what was called delayed send. So you can write your email now, put in your recipient, put in your subject, do all your attachments, but you don't want it to go out until 11 o'clock tonight for some reason, then now you can finally schedule it. So, so she'll put me in. As with any Google tool, so the send schedule, so they're going to give you a couple of different choices, like automatically. So do you want to send it tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon? But you can also, if you want it to go out again at a specific time and day, you can schedule that. And what it does is it just saves it kind of like a draft, but in its own special little folder there in Gmail. And then when the time comes, it's going to automatically push send for you, and it's going to send that. So I know this was invaluable to me when when like I wanted to send out parent communication, that weekly newsletter that we may send out to our parents. But I'm not going to sit there, I want to send it at 6:00 or something tonight, but I'm not going to sit there and wait, until 6:00, or, I really don't want to schedule to open up my computer and push send on an email at 6:00. You can now schedule that to send later. So I'm ridiculously excited about this. You just have to make sure you push the little down arrow and it's there for you. So it'll just sit there in that folder like Misty's showing you called scheduled. And it's just going to sit there and wait for you. So.
And you can always
cancel that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just push send if you wanted to do it right now.
Your draft version there.
Yeah. So this is something I had kind of given up on Gmail ever adding it. But now you can do that. So I would, I would caution anyone who does that, just make sure that, make sure before you set that up that it's exactly the way you want it. Mm-hmm. Because there's been instances where, you schedule it and then you realize after you schedule it, oh, that was not, like I had mistakes in that because I didn't go back and look at that again like I should have. So, just like with anything, just edit and, take a close look at it before you push send. But yeah, it's a great addition that, it just solidifies Gmail one more time for me at least, but mm-hmm. That's just my personal preference. So hopefully it works for y'all though. Cause there's a lot of really great classroom applications, cause we're busy when we're in the classroom. And so the more that we can schedule ahead, you've got that conference period. So build it, set it, forget it, and it'll take care of it. So very, very cool. Very exciting.
Very, very exciting. It was very funny when we noticed it yesterday. It was one of those just things that you're like, I already loved Gmail, but now it's even better.
It's even better. It's the only thing it was missing. So
the other thing under email management, and this may not be something that is needed, but if it is, and maybe it's not needed on your work account, maybe it's needed on your personal account, but mm-hmm. It's a tool called unroll.me. And what it does is basically you give it access to your data. So depending on how you feel about that, but you give it access and it's going to look at all the different newsletters, marketing campaigns, sales pitches, those things that you get signed up for. And sometimes you're not even sure how they got your email address. When you've ever been to any kind of vendor fair mm-hmm. or any kind of conference hosted outside the district, and a lot of times there are vendors there, and I'm talking even local conferences in Denton, music conferences, art conferences. There are vendors there, and you end up on a mailing list that you didn't necessarily intend to sign up for. Unroll Me will look at all of your subscriptions and basically give you a one-page view of them, and then from there you can go through and mass unsubscribe. So if you are someone who happens to get a lot of junky subscription emails, again, whether that's in your work account or your personal account, unenroll.me might be something for you to look into to help clean up your inbox a little bit. So if nothing else, you might be interested just to see how many newsletters are you signed up for that you don't even know about.
Yeah. This morning I was looking at my email box and I knew we were going to talk about it, and I have not used it yet, but I was close to using it this morning because I was just looking at it going, where is all of this coming from? I didn't even sign up for half of this. But and we have a really good internet filter. Mm-hmm. We have Gmail, is really great about flushing out the spam stuff and especially the phishing stuff. Those sketchy emails that, mm-hmm. people are trying to trick you into clicking on the link and putting in your username and password for things that aren't real. We're really lucky. We've got some really good things in place for that, but stuff comes through. And, so it's, it does happen. And like you said, it could be that you signed up for one thing and then, you wanted that you wanted to download that free, book, that free PDF about some different activities or something. But and then it kind of spread from there. But yeah, this is one that I intend to use, and I think that would be pretty helpful.
I think the other thing is, and I'll use a personal anecdote here, but I still get Barry Lane emails. I haven't taught English in almost 5 years now. And Barry Lane, it was a writing workshop that I went to as a classroom teacher, and I still get his s'more. I've unsubscribed, or I thought I'd unsubscribed several times, and I still get that s'more once a month. So something like Unroll Me, again, just having an awareness of what you're actually even signed up for, because maybe it's something that pertained to you a few years ago, and you're still getting it. It's still just, and maybe it doesn't seem like a big thing, but a clean inbox or just a few less emails throughout the day is going to make you more productive, in my opinion. All right, the last area there is distractions and focus. So the first one is an app called Calm, and I'm going to share this kind of in two parts. We've mentioned Calm in our s'mores, which hopefully you're not going to unsubscribe from, but Calm is it says here meditation and sleep, but I like to think of it as awareness, purposeful brain breaks, purposeful meditation, a chance for you to have a moment in the day of refocus and realignment, because sometimes that is what we need to stay focused and to be productive. You can get Calm free for your classroom as well. If you are interested in that, I know we've discussed it in some prior s'mores, but you can reach out to us and we'll give you the information about it. But taking a minute or two and just a moment for yourself, a moment for your mind, is going to make you more productive in the long run. And a lot of times I know that we all feel like, I don't have 2 minutes. But that's not necessarily true. You can make 2 minutes for yourselves, whether that be 2 minutes at lunch, or 2 minutes at the end of the day after you're done with bus duty, and you're back in your room. Taking 2 minutes before you tackle those piles of emails or grading that's waiting for you can put you in a better headspace, and that better headspace will make you more productive. So just think about Calm. It is both a web app and a phone app. So you can do this from your computer or from your phone. And again, there is a classroom version that is available for free for teachers. And the last one we have is a Chrome extension called Stay Focused. And this one's pretty cool. I haven't turned it on, but I'm very tempted. And what it does is basically lets you block yourself from going to websites that might be a distraction. So let's say that something interesting is happening over on Facebook. And I'm not talking, this could be at any point in the day. So let me say that. This could be, you can set these hours to stay. Maybe you just feel like you're spending too much time on Facebook or social media in general, and you want to limit that for yourself. So what you can do is you can say, I want to block Facebook after I've been on it a certain amount of time, and I want to block it for a certain amount of time. So I want to block Facebook and I can't get to it for 2 hours today. And so it's going to start whenever you decide to start it. So let's say that from 4 to 6 o'clock, I do not want to be able to get on Facebook, because I'm going to spend that time grading papers or making dinner or going for a walk or reading, whatever it is. But from 4 to 6 o'clock, I cannot get on Facebook. And as long as you're signed into Chrome, if you go and open up your Facebook link or bookmark or whatever, it's going to block you and not let you in until that time limit's up. So that's a pretty cool way to police yourself if you need some directed focusing is how I'll phrase that. But I think that's a pretty neat extension, that something like that exists and is free, and you can add it onto your Chrome. So It's already 12:45, so I am going to go ahead and wrap us up. But the last two there are just kind of bonus tips. Keyboard shortcuts can save you time, and the more familiar you are with them, the faster you'll be with them. Just thinking about saving clicks. And the last thing is cleaning up your computer. So often our computers, we don't think about shutting them down all the way. We have, I mean, looking at my screen, I've got probably 10 tabs open right now. And maybe you're not using your drive for storage, so your desktop is full. All of these things slow your computer down, and a slow computer slows you down. So some of the things that you can do to clean that up are to close out some of these tabs you're not using. So those tabs I'm done with, I could go ahead and close those out. Clean up your desktop. If you've got so many files and screenshots on your desktop that you can't see your desktop, maybe you want to make some folders or upload some of those things to your drive and get them off your hard drive, off your computer, to free up some memory, which is going to help things go a little faster. So those are just some bonus tips. Not necessarily apps or websites, but just some bonus tips to help you be more productive.
Especially turning off your computer every so often. I know that we live like in a day and age where we leave our phones on like all the time. And, especially with laptops, we just close the lid and put it in our backpack or walk away. But, our computers need rest also. And when we do that, when we restart or turn off our computer, that does help with cleaning up the memory a little bit. It gets rid of some of that, the files that have been cached. It just kind of cleans that, so it's got less on its mind. If you think about your computer like a person, it just needs a break sometimes also. So absolutely, a faster computer means a faster you, and that's one step that we could definitely take is to turn it off each night. We are lucky that the equipment that we have here in the district is of good quality. And so for the most part, it's not a long time. It doesn't take a long time to turn it back on and restart our computer in the morning. I have experienced, and I know stories of, teachers in districts that have, like, let's say a PC desktop on their desk in their classroom, and they turn it on as soon as they get there, and they go and they make their copies, and they get their coffee in the morning, and they come back 10 or 15 minutes later, and that's when they can finally log into their computer. I don't think we really experience that here, but if we don't take care of our stuff, then it does tend to start to slow it down over time. So I think that is a great tip, just kind of keeping things clean. So very, very helpful.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you being with us again, whenever you're watching this. And as always, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to any member of Digital Learning Services. We are happy to answer your questions and help you out however we can.